And all of that struggle drains us so much. Ladies, we're not supposed to keep it all together. We're not supposed to make sure everything's perfect. And we are certainly not supposed to make sure that everybody is happy. That's not our job. Our job is to be filled by the Holy Spirit. Our job is to follow God. And our job is to treat others the way Jesus would have them treat them. And we can't do that unless we stop and ask God what that looks like each day. And sometimes each part of each day. That's what it means to be nourished. It's to ask God to fill us. It's to ask Him to come and just fill us with everything that we need to be peaceful through the day, to hear His voice throughout the day, and to be able to minister to those He's put in front of us, from our husbands down to our co-workers and the random people we might meet in the grocery store. I can't express to you enough how important it is that you make this a priority in your day. In your book, I've included lots of ways to do this, but the most important thing is to spend time with God every single day and to listen to what He tells us to do. See, I struggle with this, and I told you at the beginning that I would be real with you, and I said before that I don't always have it figured out. But let me just share with you a personal experience about this. Preparing these videos, writing this book, getting things kind of put together for this class was a big undertaking. And in my knowledge, I created a little schedule to get it all figured out. I said I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. And this is what it's going to look like, and this is how it's going to go. And I said, I know this is from God. This ministry is from God. It'll all work out. Can I tell you that when you try to do things without God's timing, it becomes a mess? I think I exhibited almost every single one of the emotional, sinful natures. I was yelling. I was slamming doors. I was not being very nice. And my poor children, who are home with me during the day, which is when I'm working on most of the time, felt the brunt of it. Thank goodness they know the Lord too, and I can go to them and apologize and ask their forgiveness. But you see, this is what happens. When we try and do things in our own strength, we try and do things without being nourished, we try and do things in our own timing and make them look the way we think they're supposed to look, we end up making a mess. This video that you're watching today didn't come together because of anything I did. In fact, the several times I tried to do it, it was a mess. But when I let it go and said, okay, God, I'm sorry. I messed up. I want you to take over and just tell me where and when, and I'll be there. He arranged it. He made it work out just fine. And I pray that that's something you're willing to do in your life too. Tell God, I don't know how to run my life. I've obviously not done a good job up till now because I made a mess of it. Lord, help me. Help me to understand how to run my life. Help me to follow you. Help me to obey you. That's all we can do. And we need to trust that God isn't going to drop us into some miserable place and leave us there. He will guide our steps. He will help you know when and where and how. These aren't new things to God. In fact, He already has it figured out. He's waiting for you to let Him lead you so that in between, while you're waiting, you can be peace-filled and see the other things He wants you to do instead. Whether it's resting. How many of you, oh my goodness, how many of you during a day when things are chaotic and you know you just need 20 minutes to yourself, how many of you take it? I didn't think so. It's okay. I'm giving you permission to take a break. I'm giving you permission to just let things go. To lay it all down. Everything. Everything. Lay it down before the Lord and say, okay, what do you want me to do? And if He tells you to take a nap, trust that He'll make sure that whatever you're worried about, then that's why you're not taking a nap, that He'll make sure it gets taken care of in His timing and in His way. One of the sweetest joys that I have now is that when I'm finding that I'm completely worn out and I do take that rest, random things just happen to make things either disappear or get taken care of. My husband comes home and does dishes. He didn't used to do that. My children quietly play together. When I tell them, Mama needs a rest, they go, okay, Mom. And they take a rest because they trust now that I'll be better because of it. Ladies, don't worry. Don't worry. Don't let fear into your hearts. Tell it to go away and instead ask God and trust Him. That's what it is when you're talking about nourishing your own garden. I pray that the material in the book this week has spoken to you, and I pray that your discussion will continue filling you so that you can learn what this looks like for you. But I pray above all that this will bring you closer to God, and as a result, you'll feel as if you really are getting to know Him